Hello, friends. I'm Phoebe. Welcome to my music discovery journey. Only today we're not reacting to music. We're having a little catch up after I've been to Bloodstock Festival. I've been away on lots of little trips and I feel like I've missed so much. I've been really struggling to get back into the swing of things. Everything feels so overwhelming. There's so much new music out. There's so many things to catch up on. And life is just a bit crazy. But I thought I'd just chill and just understand that I'm only human and have a little sit down chat about how I felt about Bloodstock. This was my first time going. I've been thinking about going for quite a few years now. It was in its 25th year this year in 2026, and lots of celebrations, a really great lineup. It was stacked. They've already announced the lineup for next year. It's stacked even more, and there's a lot of people here that I know would love the lineup, especially with Electric Callboy and Motionless in White and Canon and Phoebe, among others, Imminence as well. Oh my god, like I cannot wait to see them. This year, the bands I saw, I'll list them there. We'll talk about them in a minute. But as a whole, the festival itself, it was great. Now I do want to add the caveat that I got a free ticket. I applied for accreditation, a media pass, and I guess there's an understanding that you'll probably create content for the festival under that agreement. Basically, I said I would be vlogging as I do at any other festival, and that was the only thing I really said I wanted to do. They offered me a ticket on that basis, and I've since created quite a bit of content just because I've enjoyed it so much and I wanted to show how much I enjoyed it, but also share my experience and hopefully help get me a ticket next year. I'll be honest, I'm very transparent about all of that, and I would love to go next year. It's almost already sold out. That's how good people think the lineup is. So that's cool. There are a lot of people that don't like the lineup. Some of the older metalheads are having issues with it, and some want it to be a certain way, and there's always going to be that at festivals. There's the same thing has happened with Download, and I guess you can't please everyone. I'm really happy about it myself, and there are still some really good bands. Hammerfall as well, that's one that I've wanted to see and listen to for a while, so that might kick my ass into gear. Anyway, they had a gaming crypt, so there was a place where you could play games in between bands. They had loads of food places, but my favourite and the only place we actually went to was Spudman. You could get beans, cheese on a jacket potato for £10. Now, that's not like the cheapest price for a jacket potato ever, but at a festival, I assure you, £10 for a massive... By the way, the box was like this size and it was full to the brim. I couldn't even finish it. For a massive jacket potato, loads of beans or chili, I got another day with cheese on top for £10 is unheard of at a festival. The last festival we went to, and many other festivals we went to, you can't get food that's going to fill you up for £10 or less. It's just unheard of now. In the last few years, it's gone up, crept up to about £15, and so you're looking at if you want a big meal each day, and we only kind of try and stick to one and then cook our own little bit and have breakfast bars. It gets really costly. So I have to shout out Spudman. That not an ad. We paid with our own money and everything, but we spotted it on the Friday, and then we had it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'll have it again next year if it's there. So that was really cool. The camping area that we were camped in was the artist and media campsite. It wasn't too big, but it had plenty of room for everyone. There was a point where it got full up and people were waiting to pitch up their tents, but there was a pathway and we just kind of filled it in from the back. That seemed to work. We managed to find a spot for our tent, and we ended up camping with the gang from Outer Gods. I wished I'd included a bit more of that in my vlog, but one, when you meet new people, you don't really want to suddenly invade them with their privacy and go, hey, by the way, can I vlog our hanging out moments together? And perhaps, I mean, you can do that, but I felt like at the time I was just enjoying myself, having a chat here and there, that it didn't really cross my mind to film it. And then when it did, I thought, oh, you know what, we just leave it. Maybe next year that'll be different. So we'll talk about their set as well. I'd not heard of them before. We went to Bloodstock, and when we were camping and they were pitching the last tent that they were holding a spot for their vocalists, we started chatting, and they're a really nice bunch of people, really, really cool. But we were saying that, you know, it was so early on a Saturday to be performing that who knows who'll turn up. Anyway, we first saw Heavy Saurus on the Thursday. They had a few bands on the Thursday, not too many, as people were still settling in and arriving. Despite it opening on the Wednesday, we arrived on the Thursday because that was the day the media campsite opened. And Heavy Saurus were the first band we saw. They were more catered for children, I would say. There were loads of dinosaurs dressed up for them, and loads of people enjoying that side of things. They were fun. They were gimmicky. They were all dressed in these hot dinosaur suits. I can't imagine it in that blistering heat because the weather was really hot. And I guess they sounded like they were children's entertainers. Whilst I thought it was fun, they're probably not the kind of band that I would go and see regularly, but they're one of those gimmick bands that you'd be like, yeah, they're there, I'll see them. If no one else is on, I'll definitely go to see them. There was a kid even dressed up in a dinosaur outfit that I think I got on the vlog as well. I did. So it was nice to see a lot of people getting involved in loads of dinosaurs dressed up. Then we went to the Sophie at Lancaster stage, and that was a tent, and so it was a bit more shaded in there, and we saw the Hell. I'd heard of the Hell but not seen them before. They were like, how can I describe them? A bunch of geezers. They sounded like they just come off a set from scratch or something like that, or one of those kind of English gangster movies, British gangster movies, shall I say. So they were quite fun. They were all in boiler suits, orange or red boiler suits, and they seemed to get the crowd going as well. They had, I think they were the band that had Insomnia's remix, or the Insomnia remix. I'm pretty sure it was them. Then no, they weren't. That was Seething Akira, who I'd only just gotten into. Anyway, this is a whole stream of consciousness. I should have written more notes than I did here. Then we saw Saxon in the evening. Saxon were really good. I can't believe I'd never heard of Saxon before. Their logo looked familiar. I think the vocalist, the main vocalist, sounded or reminded me of Ozzy Osbourne with his vocals. They were really, really fun. We both liked them. We weren't sure if it was the alcohol talking, but I thought they were really cool in terms of like classic rock, classic metal bands. They fit in that category for me as well, and I just can't believe I hadn't heard of them before, hadn't heard their music before, despite it feeling familiar. Temples on Mars were who we saw on the Friday morning. They were in the New Blood stage, so they were new. I believe they're definitely from the other side of the world. I think they're Australian, and they were really cool. I definitely made a note that they were one to watch and that I would listen to them a bit more when we got home. We only caught a couple of their set tracks, I think, maybe I think we maybe have caught 3 or 4 actually, thinking about it, but I didn't film as much. I don't like to film every part of the set because I like to enjoy it as well. I don't like to invade other people's space holding things up in the air. But obviously, for the vlog's sake, I like to get footage. So it's trying to find the balance between those two things. But Temples on Mars, they were definitely one to watch. Party Cannon, wow. I hadn't heard of Party Cannon before either. They are a lot of fun. Literally, the clue is in the name with them. They had loads of people on stage parading around little signs or stupid little gimmicky things. They had a guy holding a dick on stage, which I shared in the vlog. They had a Guinness World Records guy who was recording certain moments, and they tried to get loads of crowd surfers during one of the songs. The songs are quite short. I think they joked saying the songs are quite short, but how many crowd surfers could they get through? And the Guinness World Records guy said there was like over 1,000. I'll let you be the judge of whether that was true or not. And then they grinded him up in like what looked like a bit of a meat grinder at the end, or turned him into a slushy and then drank it or something like that. I think from what I could see, that was quite fun. Just a lot of silliness on stage. They were Scottish, and you could just tell everyone was having a great time to them. I think that was definitely the band that had a load of people dressed up as bananas for their set. Don't know why, but it worked. There were so many bananas, people dressed up as bananas, people holding bananas, inflatable bananas, banana men. Yeah, it was really, really fun. So definitely would see Party Cannon again. Skinned were really fun. It was nice to see Skinned. The fact that they had quite a bit of backing track was a little bit disappointing, I would say. I still enjoyed them. I really like their theme, their brand of talking about true crime, talking about cases that aren't so pleasant, and kind of bringing them to light. They've recently released a track about Jimmy Savile, and obviously awful stuff that Jimmy Savile did that came to light more after his death. But that was interesting, and I hadn't heard that before the festival, but I'd seen that they'd released it, and I was hoping to do a reaction to it actually, but I heard it on the Friday as well. And then I bumped into my friend Jack, so we were having a chat during part of the Skin set, but I got to hear the songs I liked. That was cool. They definitely played the songs that I've reacted to as well, so it was nice to kind of sing along to those. But yeah, there was just, and also Skin's vocalist, their vocals are so good, and I think that's why I was disappointed that there was some backing track. It wasn't on the whole, but there were parts where there was backing track. And I know that there are times if you're layering vocals, you can't have the person singing both parts, but it wasn't like that. There were parts where I was like, they could be singing that. So I think that was part of my slight disappointment, but I thought it was a great performance. At the same time, just could have done with that. Wow, too much backing track. Seed and Akira were one to watch. Also, there was an engagement at the end of their set where one of their guys proposed to his future fiance. That was quite sweet. But for their actual set, they did that after they'd finished and taken a photo. So I think some people were leaving, and we were just kind of leaving the tent as well, but then we got to witness that. Their set was quite a party. That was the band that did the Insomnia cover, which was quite an interesting sound. I liked their music. They also sounded like a bunch of geezers, so I'd be interested to check them out properly as well now that we're home. Noticed they were in our campsite as well. A lot of the artists were just if they weren't on a tour bus or they weren't there for a few hours or the day, a lot of people were camped in our campsite, so it was I mean, it was just what it is, isn't it? But I remember noticing a couple of them walking through, and it's nice. It was cool. There was moments where you're like, do I say something? Do I say it was a great set? But I thought I'd just leave them alone because it might be a bit annoying when people come up and say stuff like that. But I thought their set was really good and it was really impressive, and I hadn't seen them play before, so I thought that was good. Municipal Waste, they were fun. Kind of sounded more thrashy to me, I think, and definitely well known in the metal world. We got to see some of their set. It was really hot at that point. We were outside. We were trying to find some shade, which there was some, but there wasn't too much at that point. That was really fun. You see a lot of people getting in the pit. The pits got really dusty because of the weather. It was so dry. It hadn't rained in a little while, and so all the dust would be everywhere. That was part of the whole festival experience. Coming back with just dried dirt in every crevice. No Tricks was in the VIP tent area. So there was a VIP area called the Serpent's Lair that has a bar, that has a few different places to eat and drink. From what I remember, I know we got some slushies there. I know they had a coffee shop there. I think they had a couple of food stands, but we didn't have any food or coffee. We just had the slushies. They had some toilets there, which were a bit nicer than the Portaloos. There were porcelain toilets. It still did smell a little bit, but not terrible. It's a festival. What do you expect? Things are a bit different there, so it was nicer going to those toilets than anywhere else. The Portaloos weren't bad, though. I didn't have a bad experience in the Portaloos. They were fully stocked all the time with tissue and hand sanitizer. They were constantly being cleaned out in our area, at least. I did see that. Didn't really have any issues with those, but I did obviously attempt to go to the toilet more at the Serpent's Lair or in my popcorn bucket. Where I would do it, or I could go for a wee. That would be first thing in the morning, because I can't just queue up for a wee at that time. I don't know if there were many queues in the morning because I didn't look, because I didn't need to, but that made it easier. But No Tricks, so No Tricks was performing in this little, they have a VIP bar in a tent and a smaller stage, and they were really cool. I heard that they were from Russia, and they had some vocal things to say about their country and how messed up the government is, and they seemed to have some good views that aligned with my own in wanting to support humans and treat them as people. So that was cool. And they had a really interesting look about them. They had like these contact lenses that looked like they had white out eyes, and an interesting costume, that sounds weird, but I included them in my vlog as well, and I thought they were really fun to watch, and definitely would like to check out more of their stuff. Sepultura, oh my goodness, so it was their last UK festival performance before I think they performed at Dublin as their last in Europe, and that was pretty special. That was really cool. They've been around for 40 years, and they announced that this was their last year doing this. So I discovered them literally a couple months ago and was like, oh man, I'll never get to see them live. And then this Bloodstock offer turned up, and I, free ticket, I can't refuse that. By the way, I didn't get paid to go. I didn't get paid to do any of this. It was just a free ticket, a free car park. Everything else I paid for travel, paid to eat and drink and stuff like that. But it's just I'm still very grateful. It's definitely well worth it, and especially to produce a vlog, which I tend to film for anyway every time I go to a festival. It wasn't like anything I did out of the ordinary. The only difference is we were camped in a different place. It was a bit closer to the festival, which was really good for my back and my legs. And what else? The toilets, the VIP area, that was useful because we could go through from our campsite through to the VIP area directly to the arena area, and we didn't have to walk all the way around to the main entrance. So it was really useful in that sense. In terms of doing things differently, I don't think there was anything else we would have done differently, other than camp somewhere else and not use the VIP facilities and car park. So yeah, like I say, I'm very open and upfront with stuff like that. Sepultura, really great, really fun to see, and we were fairly close to see them as well. Lamb of God, insane. I was so pleased I got to see them. They were fantastic. The whole set was full of energy. Everyone was enjoying it. Everyone was in the pit constantly. I didn't get in the pit, but that's fair. At that point, I had a really sore back because of the standing watching bands quite a lot of the day. That it always happens to me if I'm standing up for a while. So I like to try and sit down where I can throughout the day, take some painkillers, which I did, and just hope for the best, really. Then we reached the Saturday morning where Outer Gods played at the Sophie stage, and we were a bit nervous. We were like, what if they're shit? They're our camp neighbours. You're like, obviously, I'm not going to lie if they are shit, but I'm not going to praise them if they're not any good. But they were really, really cool. They had these like visceral vocals. Pat, the vocalist, who was literally camped on our doorstep, he was a character. He was really like friendly. I could sense the neurodivergence in him, and that's something that I connect with people anyway. But really, really nice guy. And then seeing him on stage performing the vocals, they went right through you. That was really cool. And then the guitarists, they played so in sync. Dan, I can't explain it, but it just looked magical to watch how intricate that was. Brett as well, their bassist, he was a really nice guy. And I mean, their performance, it was flawless. They were saying that they had sound issues for the first couple where they couldn't really hear anything, and they were thinking it was rubbish and that maybe it improved after a couple of songs, but they thought it was awful. And we were just like, it sounded great to us. Don't think I got much time speaking to their drummer, but anyway, their performance was really, really good, and we were quite impressed even during the set. And I didn't film any of these parts of conversation, but I should have, where we were like, weren't sure if they would be any good, but actually they were brilliant, and definitely one to watch. And I've already shared a one to watch post about them, but yeah, I've been listening to some of their more recent album, the Dethroned one, and that's pretty good. Their lyrics are quite poetic, and they're like, there's a mix of like heavy, chaotic, fast with slower, heavy paces, and it's just a nice mix. It's really, really cool. So I encourage anyone to check out Outer Gods UK. They've got a show coming up in Nottingham shortly, and looks like they're going to be putting out more shows as well now that the lineup's a bit more well formed, after some changes and a label change, I believe. The Scratch, an Irish band. As I love talking about Ireland. My family are Irish. I've got Irish blood, despite sounding like a British person, and I've been brought up in this country, sadly. But anytime I witness something to do with Ireland, I get excited because it brings me back to my roots. The Scratch are amazing. We saw them at 2000 Trees, and they were so much fun. They have this Irish kind of punky, it's not even punk, it's like this traditional sound, Irish trad sound. I don't know what, I forget what the the guy with the it's not really drum. It's a drum, but it's not a drum. I can't remember what it's called, but that's really cool. There's one of the guitarists goes nuts all the time and stands on his chair and does a bunch of different things. That's always really cool as well. And I got in the pit for the scratch. I got in a circle pit and it was really fun. But the dust in there, even the dust standing next to it, just I was inhaling it. By the time we finished, I had to go back to the campsite to like just clean myself out, and I blew my nose and it was black, as it's normally the case at festivals. I don't know why I'm saying it like it's the first time it's ever happened, because it's a regular occurrence, but that was really fun getting in the pit to them, and I must do more on them as well soon because they were really, really good. Definitely one to watch if you haven't heard of them already. Definitely heard other people talking about the scratch before, and I think, who was it? I think my friend Jim, mine and Alex's friend Jim, who introduces us to a lot of bands, talked about the scratch, because I think I said, "Oh, have you heard of the scratch?" And he said, "Yeah, I introduced you to them when we were at 2000 Trees." So yeah, very fun. And Irish. So North Lane, they were really cool. I reacted to them a few months ago and I knew I liked them. I haven't had much time listening to them since, but after their performance, really loved it. I love that they've got a harsh vocalist, and then their main vocalist does clean and harsh vocals as well. I think it's a really nice sound that they have. They brought in some like dancey elements as well. Not always as keen on those, but I like the fact that there's a heaviness to it, so that's cool and fun, and they were really enjoyable. We missed Earn because I think that was when I felt like there was loads of dust in that I'd inhaled. I think it was during that time. There was also a point where we fell asleep. We were so exhausted. Bleed From Within, they are definitely headliner status. They were so amazing. They had flames all around the stage. They had a vocalist, and I really wish I could remember her name. I follow her now on Instagram, but she these like almost like battle cries in her vocals, and I think it's one of the rare occasions that she was able to perform on stage with them. I might got that wrong, but I think that's what they said. That she was lucky. They were lucky to be performing with her, and that she features on a lot of their music. So it was really nice to see. But the Scottish vibes from them, you could definitely feel that. There were bagpipes. There were lots of sounds that sounded like medieval Scotland, something. I love the heaviness of them. I'd only recently gotten into them, but they are a band that I have slept on. They are definitely worthy of headliner status, and they showed that on the Saturday as well. We saw Sanguis Sugarbog, which I thought was a really interesting name. I think Brett from Outer Gods told us about them, and Dan, and they're like a heavy, I guess I can describe it as a heavy, it seemed like, is it deathcore? I don't, whatever it was heavy. It seemed fun. The tent was packed out. We couldn't even get inside, but they were really cool, and I must check them out more now that we're home. Dosed, I don't even know if that's how you say it, or is it Durst? I believe they're from the UK, and they were a hardcore group. They were in one of the smaller tents. I think it's called the EMP stage. They were full of energy. We only got to see maybe 2 or 3 of their tracks, their songs, but everyone was loving it. The crowd was going wild. It was like a proper little mini hardcore show. I know they're like a lot smaller. Oops, something's happened in the kitchen. Slaughter to Prevail. A lot of controversy about them performing. I understand lots of people saying they weren't a Bloodstock headliner, but I thought they were really good. Obviously, Alex Terrible has had a lot of controversy around him and his conduct as a human being over the years. His earlier years, he was a bit of an asshole, and I definitely am aware of that. But I can see that he's made changes over the years, and he's a lot better now than what he was. And he's got his shoulders are on a bit more of a stable. His head is on more stable shoulders, should I say? He's managed to turn his life around a bit, and their music is insane. His vocals, the screams. There was one scream that he did, and the mic was down here, and you could hear it go through you. That was how loud it was. It was just insane. They had moments where they were wearing the masks, moments where they weren't, or where he wasn't wearing the masks, and I think it's always interesting to see someone with like wearing like a tracksuit, or like he was wearing like a tight t-shirt and some sports bottoms with this like mask. It's an interesting combination, and you know what? It seemed to work. It fits them weirdly. So that was interesting. I saw that they were selling the masks at Bloodstock merch tent as well, for £200, and lots of people buying them. So each their own. If that's what you want to spend your money on, good for you. The merch stuff as well. We saw that we'd only seen that there was a place where they had the main headliners, but I heard after that there were other places where they were selling merch. We just didn't see them. We didn't actually really look, but we just commented that we hadn't seen any others around. Leprous, probably one of my favourite performances of the weekend. Leprous, they were on the Saturday night. They performed after Slaughter to Prevail, despite Slaughter to Prevail being the headliner on the main stage. The Sophie stage performed after the main headliner, but I guess it was the main headliner of the Sophie stage. Leprous were fantastic. The vocals were insane. It was magical. I love the fact that Einar has these like really cool harsh vocals, can go quite deep, but then has these incredibly high vocals that just you're like, is this the same guy? What the fuck? That there were so many what the fuck moments. It was magical, in a word. It's the best way I can describe it. Graphic Nature, they performed on the Sunday morning. They are my friends, so I might sound biased, but I think they are incredible. I think they stand for a lot of good things. They talk about being different a lot in their songs, being different, but also saying that that's all right, and you're still cool. It doesn't matter. But I think there's a lot of relatable stuff in terms of feeling like you don't fit in. They sing about neurodivergence. They sing about being real with yourself, and I think that's really, really good. They are advocates for mental health as well, and talking about the fact that it's normal to have feelings and to have thoughts and emotions as a man or as anyone in it from any gender. And I think that's really cool. They support people, human rights. I think that's always really important for me. That's a core value. So they are fantastic. They've got great heavy vocals, and they're really meaningful. Glad we got to see them. And considering they were performing at 11:40 on the Sunday, they had quite a great crowd turnout. So that's pretty cool. It's really nice seeing other people finding out about them, or telling me they know about them, because obviously they're local boys. So that was really nice. And then Castle Rat were our last band that we saw. After getting some more Spudman, we watched the start of Castle Rat's set while we were eating our baked potatoes. They were fantastic. I like that they have like a vintage vibe. Their theme is like medieval. They've got medieval lore surrounding them. They've got different characters: the Rat Queen, the Rat Repress, the Plague Doctor, etc. And and they've got a druid. They basically they sound like they've stepped out of the 80s, but they also look like they've just come out of like a D&D movie. It's like the Riley Pinkton, their vocalist, looks like she's a warrior princess. She calls herself the Rat Queen, actually. But just their ensemble, their performances and their costumes are really, really cool and in character all the time. So I really like that about them. And they are also one to watch, Graphic Nature one to watch, which I should have said, but yeah, it feels biased. But I think they're really good. I think lots of people have been praising them as well and stuff. So yeah. Anyway, that's my ramble about Bloodstock. Would I go again? Absolutely yes. The lineup for next year looks amazing. In terms of me, obviously I'm so behind in everything and I've got loads to catch up on, and I know loads of people understand. If you're even here at this point, if you are still here, let me know in the comments. Just say I was still here at the end. I really appreciate that. I'll be back when I can. I'm filming this on Saturday, the 15th of August. I have a couple of sleep token videos that I can get out today, and I need to get back on track for things. But I've only got really Monday and Tuesday left for real work days. I'm working half a day today and half a day tomorrow to try and get some semblance of content ready, because then I'm away for another 2 weeks. And whilst that's great, I've got a festival, Art Tangent, so see you there if you are going, let me know. And then I've got Gamescom in Germany, which I'm working at, so that'll be some guaranteed money for I think 7 days, and it's much needed after a lot of time away and not having this consistency. But I can't wait to get back to the consistency again, because I miss it and I'm a bit out of sorts, which makes it hard to get back into the swing of things. A lot of people are saying, what happened to your weekly videos of this, what happened to your weekly videos of that? And honestly, it's just very overwhelming. So I'm trying my best. But anyway, I can't believe this is a 40-minute ramble. Sorry about that. Thank you to anyone on Patreon who is supporting. I really appreciate that. New and old subscribers. Links down in the description. You can join for free, but you can also join from £1 and up, and it really, really helps. Thank you. And I'll see you for another one soon. Thank you for your time. Take care. See you soon. Bye bye.